What was it like, your first step on the moon?
Wouldn't want to say it was a letdown. I could very well see, looking from my window, that it was very easy for Neil to walk around and to scoop up a contingency sample. And then when I got down, it was really as expected. It was easier to move around on the surface than I guess we had thought it would be. But still, we wanted to, exercise a thorough understanding of the mobility, the balance. And later during the spacewalk, in front of the TV camera, so that people back here, I sort of jogged back and forth, showing different mobility ways of 2 feet at a time, one in front of the other, turning. And I was having a good time, but I was really doing that for the benefit of people here to get a very qualitative indication of what the mobility was like and how easy it was to move.
My 7-year-old wants to know, was it hard to walk around? Did you feel like you were tripping, or wasn't it difficult to walk on the moon?
It was really very easy. The combination of the restricted mobility of the pressure suit, which would keep your legs and arms from moving very rapidly, the combination of that restriction and the reduced gravity gave the overall impression of slow motion. Whatever you were doing just was not going to happen as fast up there as it does down here. If you lean a little bit, you don't begin to lose your balance quickly at all. It's very, very slow, and it's very easy to recover.
Read accounts from various astronauts that say if you weren't spiritual before you went up in space, you were afterwards. Did you feel the same way? Did you feel that there was an indication then that there is a God?
Well, I felt it was appropriate to be, let's say, spiritually prepared as I went through training. It was natural. I was an elder in the Presbyterian Church, and I felt there were maybe some things I could do. So I inquired and got permission to serve myself communion when we were on the moon, because I felt this was an indication of celebration or giving thanks. My ego came out, and I wanted people to know what I was doing because I felt good about it. But I was advised not to make mention of that over the radio, and I understood that, and in retrospect it was certainly the appropriate thing to do because that was a rather secular thing. Since coming back from the moon, I've been greatly impressed with how fortunate a few of us were to be a part of such a program. But I don't think it has given me, the trip at least, has given me any greater insight. I've had a growing, maturing appreciation of spirituality and perhaps a lessening of the individual religious nature that seems to attract many, many humans. I think there's a much grander, much larger, bigger picture. Maybe it's an Einsteinian view of spirituality.
In one of your books you mentioned that after it was all over with and you were in the decontamination process, you looked at Neil Armstrong and said, "My God, Neil, we missed it all." You realized what a big event it was and the way the world had reacted, and you, I guess, had been so busy doing what you had been trained to do that you felt like you had missed it in a way?
Well, that's not exactly what I felt the moment we got back onto the carrier, right after we'd gone through a physical exam and taken a shower and so forth. We watched some film before the ceremonies on the carrier. We watched some TV footage of the recordings of the broadcasters when we landed safely on the moon, and we saw the reaction of people around the moon and around the Earth in different parts, and that's when I just felt the urge to say to Neil, "Look at that. we missed the whole thing. In a way, making a joke, but also making a serious observation. It's sort of a mixture of the two. I'm not sure exactly what prompted me to say that. Since then, I think what it was the realization that the response that we were seeing around the world was a measure of the value of what we had just done. Much more so than the rocks that we brought back or what anybody said or the questions that were answered. It was that for those brief moments, those minutes, those hours of the successful landing and then the walk on the moon, this was something that was shared worldwide in a way that could never again be repeated. And it did bring the world together, and they paused and they forgot about other things that were happening for a brief moment. And the individuals, the humans around the world, treasure that moment as something that was meaningful in their lives. And for the most part, it is so etched in their memory that they remember where they were during those moments.